Hey everybody, I'm Bree, and today we're going to be going over your alignment and distribution tools in Figma. Alright, so before we get started, I have this document that I'm going to be working in. I'm going to put a link to this in the description below, so if you want to follow along as we go, feel free to open this document and do so. So let's jump in. The alignment and distribution tools in Figma are there to help you align your artwork so that it looks cleaner and more professional. It also helps you speed up your workflow. So how do you get to your alignment and distribution tools? Your alignment and distribution tools are going to show up in your inspector panel. If you don't know what the inspector panel is, take a look at my tutorial for beginners video, which will tell you everything that you need to know about the different panels and UI of Figma. To see your distribution and alignment tools, you're going to have to select an object. So if I selected the word center, my alignment and distribution tools are always going to show up in the top right-hand corner of my inspector panel. The first 6 tools are going to be your alignment tools. To see your distribution tools, you have to have 2 or more items selected. All of those are going to be in this drop-down menu. You'll have tidy up, distribute vertically and horizontally, which we'll go over later on in this video. First of all, what happens when you only select one item and you want to use your alignment tools? What's going to happen there is it is going to align the items to the frame that you are working on. So I have this white frame back here. If I select center, let's center this to the middle of the page. I'm going to select the second alignment tool, which is align horizontally center, and then align vertically center, which is going to put that right in the middle of our page. So as you see here, there are a few things overlapping, but what's happening is our alignment tools are going to align our objects based on our frame. So if we want this arrow to go to this top right corner, we would go right and then top. And the same with these other ones. Left and then top, left and then bottom, and right and then bottom. Just so you kind of get an idea of how that works. Okay, now let's jump to our second frame. So what if you have objects that you want to align to each other instead of to your frame? You would then select both of your objects, and the smaller object will always align to the bigger object. So let's say this is our button and we want this text to be centered perfectly in the middle. We would then use both of our center alignment tools, horizontally center and vertically center. And now your text is perfectly centered in this shape. Something nice about this is it also works if you want to align things to each other, but they're not overlapping. For example, here, maybe I want this text to be centered with this, but I don't want them to overlap. Then we would just align horizontally. And again, the text is smaller than this box, so the text is going to align to the box instead of the box aligning to the text. What I mean by that is if this box were to be smaller than the text, and let's unalign these, and I wanted these to be center aligned, now I guess now it's more of like a little bubble will align with the text, like so. You can also align things to the left as well as to the right. You can also align objects that are next to each other with the vertically center tool, or if you have items that are different heights, you might want them to be aligned bottom or aligned top. And you can do the same thing when items are above and below each other with the first 3 tools. Okay, so now let's jump into our distribution tools. There are a few different ways to use these. The first thing you need to do is you need to select all of the objects that you want to have evenly spaced. There are 2 ways to get to this. The first way is to select all of these objects, come up to your inspector panel, select your drop-down menu, and then choose either vertical spacing, horizontal spacing, or tidy up. I always like to choose tidy up, and that's going to clean up all of my spacing for me, right? But they're still kind of jagged, so I'm going to use my align center tools to make everything even. Once you have done that, you will notice that there are pink lines and dots on each of your objects. What the lines are doing when you hover over them and your pointer turns into an up and down arrow is they're going to allow you to click and drag to increase or decrease that spacing to whatever you like. What the dots are going to do is they're going to allow you to rearrange the content while keeping your spacing. For example, if I want all of the rectangles to be together, then I could do something like this and my spacing will be the same. However, I did say that there were two ways to get to this menu. So if I undo all of this and I select all of these, when I hover over my selection, you'll see that I get this little box down here that kind of looks like a hamburger menu. If I select that, it is going to automatically do our tidy up option. I do still have to select the alignment that I want, but it's a lot quicker than having to go up here to the drop down and select one of those options. Okay, that's pretty cool, but what about this? Your distribution tools and alignment tools will also work on lots of objects like this. So what's going to happen here is it's going to give you a grid of objects. So you can do the same thing by going to your drop-down menu, or you can select it here. This time I'm going to select right here. So now we have a nice clean grid where we can adjust the spacing. Another thing to note is you can also adjust the spacing in your inspector panel right here. So let's say that you want the spacing to be 15 in both directions. It is now 15 in both directions. And let's say that I want all of the same types of squares together. I can use these dots again to move them around to place all of the objects that I would like together. So that is it for your alignment tools. In this document, I've also included some mock-ups down here where you can play around with how those alignment and distribution tools would work. So have fun playing with those. I hope this video was helpful and I hope you have a wonderful day.